Okay. We are off, but this is the FFR FF6 Worlds Collide crossover event. Let's see, we have Woobear and Possum Morpheus versus Golden Shocker and Turdsman. I believe we will be getting a video feed up shortly for Turdsman. And I am trying to figure out what all's going on here.
I think I have a good idea of what's going on. Looks like we got Mawson with the Amaro start. My name is Drinks Glue. I am one of the resident FF6 community members and local Yamaro lover. Joined Odoron here in the broadcast booth today. Yeah, so we're off and underway. If you're wondering what's going on your screen right now, we are doing a little showcase of the FFR/FF6 flags coming later this year. On the FF6 side, our goal is to find 6 characters and 9 espers. On the FFR side, our goal is to find 16 shards plus all those items.
28 shards.
28 shards, my goodness, excuse me.
All good.
We went from 16,000 browser tabs to 7 million, and now we're up to 28 shards. So by the end of the stream, we should need about a couple 100,000 shards. But nevertheless, we're looking for shards, looking for all the key items, and they can live at just about anywhere in either world. So
yeah. And if you're an FFR fan, you'll notice that the overworld looks a little different. It's a custom-made overworld to try and emulate the FF6 aspects of this crossover event.
yeah, it is the world of balance. So fortunately, it's kind of weird in FF6 because we have 2 maps, not just one. But we do have the world of balance out there. Everything in FFR exists somewhere on the map, and we are starting on the FF side with the canoe. So we do have access to a few more locations than what you typically would in the FFR seed.
Yeah, let's see. If I remember from what I've seen on the flags, the FFR sides are Force Thief, Force Black Belt, and can choose one mage with a Force None as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about similar to a party for the FF6 side?
Here's the cool thing about Worlds Collide, if you're not familiar with Worlds Collide, is that you can have a Cyan, which typically if you play the vanilla Final Fantasy 6 game, you probably never use Cyan because it's generally an awful character. However, in Worlds Collide, because we start with access to espers that may have contain powerful spells, you may find some creative uses for Cyan. So typically Worlds Collide and Final Fantasy 6 characters will get shoehorned into boxes. Another example would be if you're playing FF4 or Free Enterprise, if you find Cecil, well, you know what Cecil is going to do best. But if you find a Gal could possibly, have one of the, 14 shuffled abilities in. He could be throwing, he could be doing lore. He could just, learn magic naturally from Esper. So we don't really typically shoehorn characters into certain roles. There are some preferred roles, like, some of the better items typically are the better builds, Illuminas, Valiant Knives, things like that.
Well, that's pretty neat. Oh, hey, our first AP item. It's a shard.
Yeah.
Then
so one thing cool on the FF side, our side, that which is what Weebear and Golden Shocker are partaking on the top side of the screen, is that key items for either world can exist in chests, whether it's shards for their own sake, key items for their own sake, or characters or espers for their counterpart. And they're trying to find the key items for open up their own world, trying to find the airship, things like that. We're also trying to find, Cyan in a box, Strago in a box, maybe we don't want to find Strago in a box, but, we'll take it. We can also find key items for the FF6 side or for ourselves, so a lot of cool things going on here.
Alright, a Palador, what is that?
Now, a Palador is one of the 27 espers in Final Fantasy VI. We need 9 of them to get requirements to go beat the game. We need 6 characters, we need 9 espers, plus obviously we also need the power to be able to defeat the final boss.
Okay. Then, I'm assuming Fenrir is another one of them.
Fenrir is another one of the. Fenrir is actually one of the more preferred espers that you would want to find on the Final Fantasy VI side.
Thank you.
Yeah, typically in FFR, you may visit one shop and then typically you're good to go. In the FF6 side, you tend to do a little more looting because you do need a few more pieces to the puzzle, whether it's items to support the amazing ability you got started with, or if it's consumables, or just, if you're trying to find general offense via weapon shopper and things like that. So a little more looting, which we're seeing Turdsman and Possum do. Whereas for the past few minutes, we've seen Golden Shocker and Blue Bear. They've been walking around picking fights. Typically in an FFRC compared to the FF6, you're going to see a little more action a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, the FF6 side, you guys get that airship right away, right?
Yeah, you start with access to both worlds. You can flip between the World of Balance and the World of Ruin. And then our world is locked by characters and what we call character gating. So there are certain moments throughout Final Fantasy VI that are kind of tied to certain characters. In the randomizer, for example, you find Celeste in the basement of South Figaro with Locke in the vanilla game. And in Worlds Collide, that is one of the checks that Celeste gives you access to. You find Celeste down there. You go down there, it could be a character, Esper, key item, or in the case of an AP world, it could be the airship. For the FF side, it could be some gold, it could be a shard, it could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, the gold on the FFR side is nice early, but the usefulness falls off real quick.
Yeah, kind of the same thing for Turdsman and Possum. If we find an experience egg, or if we find an Illumina, that's fantastic. Those are the type of the things you want to see. When you start to see multiple of them, then it becomes a game of, do I have even enough characters to wear all of these? Can I even wear, just the first one I found, much less, 2 or 3. Same thing with experience eggs. And a host of other things. Like, there's only so many characters you can have using an offering, which is arguably the best relic in the game.
I have heard of the offerings. That makes it so you attack 4 times?
Yep, so the offering replaces the fight command, essentially with X Fight from Final Fantasy V, if you're familiar with that, but it allows a character to swing 4 times instead of 1 with a 50% damage penalty. However, there are certain items that do not suffer the damage penalty, and 2 of those are the Valiant Knife and the Fixed Dice, which are fantastic, because I don't know if you know this or not, but 4 is a larger number than 1. I think it's 4 times larger than 1, in fact. So to be able to have a cool item like the Valiant Knife, which is strong in itself, and multiply it by 4 with the damage output, it's incredibly broken and really powerful.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now, is there a damage cap per hit?
Yes. Actually, it's kind of hard to get to 9999 with an offering. A little bit easier to get there with something like an Illumina or a powerful spell like Ultima, which we do have on in this in these flag sets for the FF6 side. It's a little different in that FFR. I know you're worried about what's your hit ratio and then your speed and your ability to swing multiple times and connect them with one fight command. A little different. You get one swing and a little bit, smaller range of damage output, but generally a little bit higher than what you would see on the FFR side.
Yeah, you don't see too many big numbers unless you have a really high black belt or a fighter that has a lot of tempers in it.
Yeah, another, if you're unfamiliar with Worlds Collide, you don't do as much buffing. Support mages, generally things like that aren't as mandatory or even honestly really needed. For example, there's this item called the Marble Shoes, which gives you auto haste, auto shell, auto protect, and auto regen. Yeah, that sounds about right. Trust me on that one. I think that's 99% sure that's right. But you think that'd be a fantastic item, right? But it's a little different. I know Weaver is walking around killing some of excuse me, I forget what those were. But some bulls, and I know you can have shuffled elements into certain sprites, so you can walk across some poison goblins and actually have those wreck your day. Less so in FF6. It's more about getting your power underneath you and just going, getting prepared, and then tackling the world as you see fit. So something like Marble Shoes and the status buffs less important for you because, well, you can't really improve your damage too much, and damage is all what you need in Final Fantasy VI.
Hit hard, hit fast. The enemy can't kill you if it's dead, right?
Nothing wrong with that. It looks like We Bear sent a Valiant Knife to Possum. Fortunate thing about this start is we have Locke, who is the only vanilla Valiant Knife wearer in the game. So pretty fortunate there to have that right off the bat. And you can also see in the text chat that is access to the AP client for both teams. We see Weebear hitting for the floater. Every so often we'll run into a little bit of a wall, and what our runners will want to do is figure out where the FFR key item is, and then if it's on the FF6 side, it would be a pretty good idea to figure out which character is behind with your hint, and then with your teammate's hint, go ahead and figure out where that character is or isn't.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised he's hinting for floater before ship.
I would speculate because with the starting canoe on the FFR side, you get access to quite a bit of the world. Like you see them immediately in the volcano, which typically in most flag sets, I'd imagine you wouldn't be in the volcano for quite a while.
Oh, I was just saying that because one of the flags on the FFR side is the airboat, which requires you to have the ship before you can actually get the floater.
Ah, maybe he has errored in his hint.
He might have just
Maybe he's
been
just
getting
showing
ahead
off.
of himself.
Yeah. Alright, so we're seeing Possum and Turdsman starting to do some physical combat, some checks that involve fighting, if you will. I've missed the abilities so far, but it looks like Turdsman is electing to do the Curse Shield. The Curse Shield works just the exact same way it does in the Philo game. However, instead of doing 255 battles, we can set a range so that's a smaller number, and I believe in these it's between 7 and 10 battles. It looks like Possum took an unfortunate wipe, but that's alright. Back in the saddle. One of the first things you'll see Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide runners do at the start of their seed after they've done their shopping and such is they need to get off of level 3 because it's really, really hard to take down bosses at level 3, and it's honestly ill-advised. So what you see a lot of runners do is do what Possum right here, where they take a stab at a few fixed encounters. We do shuffle the fixed encounters throughout the world, so it's highly possible to come across behemoths right outside Narish, which is Beginner Town, and vice versa. You can find Leafers in the Dinosaur Forest.
Those numbers above the characters, are those like a death counter?
So looks like Possum is also doing the Curse Shield with his Setzer. So that death counter, what the Curse Shield does is eventually after you complete the X number amount of battles, whatever it was rolled to, is will become the Paladin Shield. And the Paladin Shield is the best defensive item, arguably in the history of all Final Fantasy games, because it essentially means you can't die. It absorbs all elements. Absorbs half of the elements, reduces the floor half of the other, I think. But nevertheless, incredible evasion. Pretty much a guaranteed you can't kill me type of item. So what he is doing is trying to unlock it, but the downside to it is that when you unlock it, you need to complete X amount of battles with it equipped. And what it does to your character is it berserks them, it poisons them, gives them auto condemn, and that's what that counter is above his head. He happened to have multiple counters above his head because the critics were giving him the business there in that fight.
Okay. I was wondering why the second character had the counter.
But after the fresh fight, looks like he's letting Zetzer do their duty. This is pretty fortunate. Actually, maybe not. We just saw Turdsman complete the same fight, but he had access to some fire rods. But Possum does have the Valiant Knife, and Tritalk is a gimmick fight in that it's weak to fire. It doesn't do much else. It has really high defense, and then so you need a few things to ignore defense. Something like Blowfish is a good example. Always does 1,000 damage no matter what. Valiant Knife kind of falls in the same category, so it may be a little bit slow here, but at least he has a way to get through this Tritalk early on.
Yeah, it's never fun having to do a boss fight early when you don't have the damage output you'd prefer.
The good news is, look, he already had 5 espers in his inventory, so if he can just, get through this Tritalk, get some ability points from it, he should always be able to learn whatever the better spells he had on his esper so far. So I got a question for you, my friend. Between Golden Shocker and Woodbear, we see them do quite a bit of work in this volcano. What are they looking for down there?
Well, Volcano's one of the easier early access dungeons you can get to that has a lot of chests.
Mhm.
And at the end of it is, okay. It's normally carry. What is it this time? It's
I think it's
going to be one of 45 Final Fantasy VI alternate fiends. Wow. So yeah, killing the fiend in Volcano will give them 2 shards, the same as killing a fiend in Earth Cave. The fiends in sea and air will give 4 shards each.
Nice.
So it's a way to try and jump up your shard count, and the more shards they have, the quicker they'll level and get gold.
Mhm.
Does look like they're both running into issues here and there down there, though.
Yeah, I've noticed a number of monster boxes, and again, I think I touched on this earlier, but one of the cool things is the elements that can get shuffled in some of the fixed encounters. So something like, let's say on the FF6 side, a Leafer is not inherently scary. If that Leafer, however, was able to cast a Flare on you, I would be terrified of it. And that's what I think it's really cool when you have like nuke goblins or nuke ogres and things like that. And
Yeah.
just absolutely wreck your day.
It's fun to watch. It's
Probably not as
terrifying
fun
when
to
you're
play,
running.
but yeah. That's the price to pay for viewer enjoyment.
Yeah. We do it all for the viewers.
Oh, that's an ice dragon. So this ice dragon, that is the carry spot because it's in the bottom left of the bottom floor of the volcano. Correct?
Yes.
All right, so that's interesting. Pretty cool, though.
Phantoms are awful. They give 1 experience, 1 gold, and they hit like a truck.
I know this says ice dragon, but it's actually the carry fight. What is the typical strategy for a carry fight to get through it early on?
Depends on what your layout is. With what they have, nuke, and hope it doesn't kill you.
It looks like Golden Shocker got through it though, so looks like they didn't kill him, so he killed him, and
Ooh. I don't think Woo Bear's getting through this.
ooh.
Yep, nope. Even though Carrie's one of the earlier fiend fights, the stat block on Carrie is still scary. Especially when you don't have like any good armor yet.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, any AP items that Woo Bear found stay found, just everything else is gone.
Alright, looks like Turdsman is doing the Burning House play, which is one of Strago's checks. The perks of doing the Burning House there are no perks. It's one of the longer checks in the game, but I guess what Turdsman is trying to do is do some fixed encounters to get some experience under his belt and get maybe a few extra levels here.
Is there any chance of like a key item or character or Esper being in this check area, or not really?
Yeah, so at the way the Burning House works is you got to dodge all of the flames, which if you played the vanilla game, is a pain in and of itself. But once we get through those flames and whatever fixed encounter shovels they may or may not be, we fight a boss at the end of it. And that boss is what gates us from being able to get that reward at the end of this check, which is either going to be a character, Esper, high tier item, or something that exists in the FFR side.
Well, since you're saying it's an awful check, I'm going to assume it's just going to be a small chest of gold for the FFR side.
Could be. It would be thematically appropriate.
And Woo Bear's now hinting for that ship. Maybe they remember they need that before the floater.
I guess that was the bridge tile that comes out of Cornelia that he just stepped on.
Yeah, it was one of the two bridges, either the one that connects Corneria over to Provoca or the one that's south of Dwarf Cave normally. The first time you step over either one of them, you get the bridge cutscene. It feels bad when you do it 20 plus minutes into a run, but it happens.
Happens to the best of us. And this looks like Golden Shocker has made his way on over to the Marsh Cave.
Oh, gross. I mean, hooray! And Woo Bear's in ice. Two of the worst places you want to have to go to in FFR.
Yeah, we got Woo Bear in the ice cave. We got Turdsman in the burning house. Couldn't be in more different locations. If you planned it out any better.
Oh,
Alright,
mages
so-
are stone glancing? Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be here if you don't have to be here. Yep, there they go.
Is that a full wipe of that nuke? There we go. Okay. Alright, Woo Bear got it. So, anywho, going back to what our runners are ultimately looking for, to unlock the final dungeon of FF6, actually, you don't have to unlock the final dungeon, you get it right off the bat. However, if you want to take on the final boss, you need at least 6 characters and 9 espers, and I believe Possum is up to 5 and 2, has added 2 characters, so we start with 3, so he's up to 5 characters, and then 5 espers. Turdsman is a little behind, but on the reverse side of that, Golden Shocker has already defeated Carrie, whereas Woo Bear got walled down there a little bit, so he's over in Ice Cave poking around somewhere else. So we can almost argue right now that early on, Possum has a little bit of an advantage based on the progression he has, whereas Golden Shocker has done one of the things he needs to do that Woo Bear has not done
Well,
so far.
you don't have to kill the carry fiend.
Oh, I thought you had to kill all 4 Keens.
No, it's a shard hunt mode, so you just need to collect the 28 shards and you can go into the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Now, is it possible that you have to go back to carrying enough shards, or will there be enough shards without having to do so?
There's enough shards in the pool that you don't have to do the fiends. It's just sometimes it's much quicker to just quickly run to a fiend and get the shards off of it than having to try and go to horrible chest locations.
Gotcha.
Like Golden Shocker's in Marsh Bottom right now. They don't have a key, and there's 3 chests that are key locked here.
Mhm.
So it'd be much better to like run to Kraken, Tiamat, or Carrie and kill them instead of having to come back down here to hope that one of those 3 chests gets you a shard.
Mhm.
Ooh, giants. Those are a nice early game money source. And it looks like the Black Mage was actually locked behind the carry kill, so that's another bonus of actually doing the fight.
And it looks like Possum is taking on one of the 8 legendary dragons, which is the Opera House Dragon, which is normally the Dirt Dragon, but we shuffle those as well, so he's getting a lovely Red Dragon tutorial on stage for the viewers of the opera. Looks like Turdsman just finished up his Weltgate check. What did he send Golden Shocker? Oh no, excuse me, he's gonna do it now. I thought he had just finished it up. I was confused. Alright, down goes Red Dragon for Possum. Now, typically in Worlds Collide, dragons only reward a high tier item, but we can also have part of the AP requirements hidden behind dragons because we do consider dragons checks. So there we go. There's an AP item, and he sent the cube on over to Wee Bear.
And Woo Bear sent Go-Go over before that dragon fight ended.
Oh, nice. Yep, Go-Go is definitely in the top 14 of Final Fantasy VI characters.
Wait, how many characters are there?
Oh, there's 14.
Oh, okay.
No, I joke obviously, but Go-Go is has really poor stats. But where Go-Go kind of shines is his utility because any abilities you have in your party, Go-Go can throw, or excuse me, equip and then do those as well. He also has access to every spell every current party member in your party knows. So if you ever, one of the cool things about Go-Go is you find somebody with like Mute or Fire 3, which is a utility spell you may need for the final fight, or just a general offensive spell in general. You just throw it on one character, and once they learn it, now 2 characters know it. Albeit the second character has not going to probably do as much damage as the main caster.
So kind of, I don't have anything better, so just copy them,
Yeah.
but worse?
Yeah, and that's kind of where Go-Go shines, is his utility in that he can do whatever. Like, there are some fights, I know we already found Tritalk, but there are some times where you come across Tritalk and you take him down with 1 Fire 3, and there's some times where you find a Tritalk in an awkward spot where you only have access to Fire, and your other 2 characters can't damage him. That's like one of those scenarios where Go-Go thrives with his utility, is that he's just a second fire damage dealer to get you through a fight like that. And then you can apply that to normal circumstances where something is like, Fire 3 versus a stronger boss, etc.
Alright. And there's those fixed dice you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Zetzer is the Cursed Shield, designated Cursed Shield wearer for Possum, so you probably don't want to put those fixed dice on him because fixed dice are really cool. The way they work is they multiply whatever they roll through the 3 dice by your level, and it always does that damage no matter what. It's defense ignoring, it pierces, the image status. The bad news is that if you're Berserk, you're going to throw those defense ignoring damage dice at yourself, and that's going to be no bueno.
I don't know, that sounds pretty nice. A good way to take down the rest of your party real quick.
Oh no. So Magimaster is arguably the hardest boss in the game. Fortunately for Possum, he has access to Berserk, which is Magimaster's one weakness. Well, I wouldn't say one weakness. One thing you can exploit to take him down. He is susceptible to Berserk, and now that he's Berserked, he no longer will change his shield. He will no longer throw a bunch of annoying magic spells at you. He just kind of stands there and tries to tickle you.
Interesting. Is that kind of like muting him?
It essentially nerfs him because Magimaster excels because he has a ability called Wall Change, where every time you damage him, he changes the element he is weak to, and there's 8 elements in Worlds Collide. So if you don't have that element, it's really hard to damage him. You need something that's either defensive ignoring that can actually hit him, or access to that element, or a non-elemental spell like Flare. And there's not that many non-elemental spells in Final Fantasy VI. There's only a handful, and then a handful of abilities. Plus, he has really, really high evasion, so he's hard to hit with a physical attack. The fact that you can Berserk him removes his ability to do the wall chain, so all elements hit him. Plus, he's not throwing a bunch of nasty magic spells at you that are inherently very dangerous.
Okay.
It looks like Golden Shocker just sent a Valiant Knife to Turdsman as well. So we will see, but by virtue of all of the amazing chests that our top runners will go through and how quickly they can go through them, that the FF6 side will end up pretty loaded pretty fast. Looks like Go-Go just made his way into Turdsman world, or into Turdsman's inventory. Back on the airship, if he wants him, he can go get him. I doubt he will do that though.
How does the levels for characters work in FF6? Are they just like everyone levels at the same rate?
Only the active party members in your party gain experience as you go on throughout a seed. Any character that is sent to you from the opposite world in an AP environment joins your party at level 3. So you kind of want to, in this AP setup, especially with these flags, you want to find 4 characters and stick to them fast. Because it can be really awkward if you start at you get to level 40 and then you find a character you want. Well, you're probably not going to gain enough experience to get that character off of level 3 to a respectable level to be able to outperform whatever you already have. So it's kind of like find four characters, whatever they may be, and then settling on those and going.
Okay.
However, any character you find in your own world will join at your party average. So it just takes the average of all of your characters and then joins at whatever that level is. The fortunate part about that is that if you have a level 3 character on your bench, that's going to drive down that average. And have that character you find push in at a lower level.
A little unfortunate, but we work with what we got, right?
Yeah. And plus, you can see from the tracker on the we sent numerous fixed dice to Valiant Knife. We got Espers galore. We have more than enough offense, so we don't have to necessarily be picky about our characters. You can play you don't need to beat the game more. You just need to be able to get enough to beat the game and be good to go from there. Alright, looks like we are up to 6 shards for Weebear, 7 shards for Golden Shocker, so he is ahead by 1, but remember, he got 2 from his carry fight that Weebear did not do.
So Woo's found more from check locations.
Yeah. And I imagine eventually Golden Shocker will make his way to the Ice Cave as well.
Oh, he's in there.
Oh yeah, that is an Ice Cave, isn't it? Alright, looks like Possum has found Poltergeist, which is arguably second only to Magimaster in the pecking order.
He's just going after all the big fish, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Well, they can only you only have to fight them once, so if you take them down one time, they're not waiting for you again. And you may have noticed Turdsman just remove that character or that sprite off of the screen. We do have a flag called Y remove on, which allows us to remove NPCs. And an interesting thing about Final Fantasy VI is that some NPCs are things you don't think they would be. For example, for some reason the game considers a door an NPC sprite, so with the ability to remove NPCs, we're able to remove some doors and some guys that block some things. And what Turdsman is doing right now is doing one of Celeste's checks that we can do with that Y remove turned on. Typically those Chancellors and those guards block you from coming down here, but Turdsman's saying, you know what, I don't care. I'm coming down here anyways, and he gets access to the Magic Factory now.
Well, that's pretty neat. FFR has something sort of similar, where you can talk to non-essential NPCs and it will actually just delete them.
Oh, nice.
It's somewhat due to Earth Cave, because it's full of bats that can get in your way and add 5, 10, 20 minutes to your dive in there. So instead you can just talk to them and they're gone. But getting rid of doors, that would be nice, but that would also remove the need of a key.
Yeah, there are 1, 2, 3. There's really 4 main things you can Y NPC remove into with Y remove on. One of them is the Narish weapon shop, which was kind of awkward because we started with the lock anyways in the starting party, so we already had access to it. But one of the checks for a lock is essentially the Ragnarok Esper spot. You can go talk to the old man who's hanging around Wolderoo and Narsh all by himself and talk to him, and he'll give you a choice between either an Esper and or a key item, or another item, Another one that you can Y NPC remove through is Mount Zozo, which is gated by a door. Typically you buy the Rust Rid from a guy looking around in town. You go up to Mount Zozo, where in the middle of the game, Cyan is doing some questionable things with his letters to a distraught individual, but another story, another debate for another day. You can Y remove up there, get access to a dragon plus that check for Cyan. And then as we saw Turdsman do, we can also Y remove the Magic Factory and get access to one of Celeste's checks. Looks like we got some ordeals actions for Weebear. Is ordeal shuffled, or is the order you have to go through always the same for the
Let's see if
stairs and
they...
floor tiles?
They did indeed put the pillar shuffle on, so
Nice.
warp becomes a very, very useful spell when going into ordeals with that flag on. Or, you know, just pure dumb luck of choosing the right pillar each time.
Alright, Possum has found Gigantos sleeping in a monster in a box. Gigantos is the single most experienced, dense opponent you can find in Final Fantasy VI. He punches kind of hard, but at this point in the game, we're not too worried about his punches. Plus, he's susceptible to things like break and instant death, as Possum shows off there, so there's a robust amount of experience. Actually, the most experience Possum can actually get from one single enemy with that one fight.
That's nice.
Right. Looks like Golden Stalker found the shard and they found their ship. So I believe that's the first one to find the ship. The first of the two teams to find the ship. And Turdsman on the right side of your screen getting the Chatternook fight. We do have a few quality of life changes in some of the boss way the boss battles work. One example is the Chatternook. We have a more demon flag, where essentially the game will get her out of that annoying form a little bit faster, so that way you're not stuck in waiting for her to switch back.
Ooh, Agama tile.
Nice.
That's one of the preferred prep tiles if you're going to try and solo black belt grind. But it's not really in a great spot since it's no ordeals there. Oh, Wu has his key. That's why he went to ordeals.
Right, this Chatternook giving Turdsman the business, so to speak. Possum is about to complete Daryl's tomb, which again is what we call peekable, in that the game will tell us what is written on the tombstone, what the reward is or not for doing this check. So the cool thing about that is you can know what it is if it's like, say like a key item, or excuse me, an AP item, then you really want it. If it's something like, a behemoth suit, which is a great piece of armor, but if you don't really need it or want it, then you can know you just kind of nope out of it and not bother wasting your time.
That's nice. Astos on FFR kinda does something similar. When you talk to him, he'll actually tell you what he's holding. So you can reset out of the fight if you don't really want to bother with it.
So sitting on the throne, or excuse me, sitting on the tomb is an offering, and if you've noticed, Possum's lock is hitting for almost 6,000 with his two light knife swings on his lock. Going forward, now that 2 will become 8 because he can Genji Glove offering and now swing his Valiant Knives 8 times. And again, 8 is a larger number than 2, and because of the way the damage penalty works with Valiant Knives, that will suffer no damage penalty with the offering. So that's going to be a robust and healthy amount of damage for Possum's locks to be doing.
That sets her on possum size, just starting to make me dizzy. I feel like that number goes up every now and then.
Yeah, the curse shield sometimes is a little bit annoying because the character has to survive the fight to get credit for the fight total. And sometimes it's easier, depending on the fight, to keep that character alive versus not so. Because you also get all the status debuffs from the curse shield, but you also take double damage to every element now going forward. So when you fight some things that are throwing out, fire AoEs or whatever, it's really hard to stay alive in that fight with that character sometimes.
Is there a spell similar to the wall spell in FFR that protects you against, well, gives you resistance against all spells? Or
I wouldn't say
elements?
resistance. The The curse shield is really fantastic with some items like a Minerva, for example, because a Minerva will negate a few of the elements. Actually, the more common elements for ice, fire, and bolt. So you essentially wipe away one of the hard parts about keeping your character alive is that fire AoE attacks probably aren't going to wipe them anymore because they'll just do 0 damage. You can also technically reflect them, but there are a handful of abilities that you can't reflect that you will see actually probably more than you would expect. So putting reflect or the wall equivalent, whatever you want to call it, on them probably is not worth it.
Okay.
Right.
I understand why Wu is doing these checks. I don't like coming back to do them, and it usually bites me in the butt when I don't.
It looks like he just hint for the loot. So he's
That is the other key item besides the key that they do need to have on hand when they do go to Topher. Ooh, an EXP egg.
oh yeah. So and it looks like Possum is diving into Kefka's tower. And the reason for this is, I think he technically has his requirements. He can go beat the game. However, you don't want to do that until your teammate has everything they need. Now, what you need can be in Kefka's tower. So I think what Possum is doing here is just saying, hey, I got to do all of this at some point in time anyways. It'd be really awkward if I just kept going in the outside world. And what I need is in here. So let me go ahead and do this in here. I gotta do this anyway, so I'm doing 2 birds with 1 stone. And if what we need is not in here, I'll just go back and resume my search back in the overworld. And when it's time for me to come back in here, I don't have to worry about it too much. I just, I already took care of what I need to. I just go beat the game now.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially since Wu Bear is in the air, so he can get to all his locations quickly and probably get through a dungeon or two while Possum does his Kefka.
Yeah, one of the first fights is the Inferno spot where he jumps down on top of you. Now this can't be a key item. This is something you just have to do, or fight you have to complete to get through the game. But there are 3 total checks in Kefka's tower, along with 5 boss fights you have to do. The 3 statue fights, the Guardian fight, the Inferno fight, or excuse me, not the Inferno fight, which happens to be Ifrit here. Plus there are 2 dragons and the Toilet Atma spot, which is what we consider checks in Final Fantasy 6. So there can be progression at the 2 dragons or the Toilet Atma.
Sounds like a scary tower.
It's generally one of the interesting things, or the cool things about it too, is that your party is also compromised. As we mentioned earlier, there are 14 total characters, and the second half of Final Fantasy VI, you're just running around trying to find all your friends and then leveling them up to go beat the game. When Worlds Collide, you don't really need to do that. You just need 4 good characters, arguably less than that sometimes. And then when you come into the tower, typically you're not doing what Possum is doing, where you're trying to just clear stuff out looking for AP items. You're trying to work your way through the tower because you got the requirements to beat the game. And then you want to spread out those 4 characters across 3 parties, because each party has to defeat a boss, at least one boss in the lane they're in. And it get kind of awkward fast if one of the tougher bosses is placed in one of those lanes.
Well, you did say he found the possibly 2 toughest fights earlier already.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's giving him a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. Jazer, my dog, thank you so much for the raid, my friend. Welcome on in, everybody. Looks like we got Golden Shocker and Weebear in mirroring places down there in the Sea Shrine.
Yep, Wu Bear's down with the mermaids. There are no encounters on that floor, unless they're in a box. And the most chest dense floor of C.
Alright.
9,
Er,
11.
Yeah, Possum a little bit farther ahead in levels than Turdsman and his progression. Remember, the progression, like if you have, it doesn't matter if you had 9 Espers or 27 Espers, it doesn't argue with you any better, you just need the 9. So Golden Shocker still a few shards ahead, however, Possum's still a few levels ahead. Turdsman, so he's going to clear his fights a little bit faster. Eventually, Turdsman will get there, though.
Yeah, the shards that Golden Shocker is ahead is just from the carry fight, though, and with the airship, getting down to carry takes 30 seconds, maybe a minute from entering Volcano because of all the damage tiles that don't increase your encounter table.
All right, does Weebear have everything he needs to do all of the Sea Shrine and take on the Kraken? Or
So
whoever the
he
Kraken
has the
is?
key. So he can, well, he has key in Oxyel, so he can open every single chest in Sea Shrine.
Mhm.
Whether he can kill Kraken is a bit of a
Debate.
different story.
Gotcha.
Kraken is the heavy melee hitter of the 4 fiends. So depending on his gear, any of those 3 characters he has could get one shot. I don't believe I've seen any ruse items, I could be wrong. His levels are looking pretty good now, though.
Would you say that Golden Shocker has any type of advantage by virtue of having that Black Mage the entire time that Weebear would not?
The only advantage would be the access to another nuke caster right
Mhm.
now. Wubear has the advantage of he's only getting experience on those 3 characters. So he's getting more from each fight, basically. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. The extra person can make it so you squeak out of a tough fight, but one less person, your levels could be high enough that you wouldn't have the same issues as the 4-person party.
Alright, looks like that was requirements for Turdsman. He can now go beat the game. However, he's in the same boat Possum is in, that beating the game may not be a good idea until Golden Shocker has everything they need to beat their game.
See, if I'm counting right, you can get 12 shards from the 4 fiend fights. So to get the 28, they need to find 16 shards from checks between the 2 games for FFR to be able to just kill all the fiends and go. Assuming they have all the key items necessary for the dungeons.
So what else can Weebear need? We see he has the airship, he has the Oxtail, he's down here in the Sea Shrine. We know he
So
has the loot and the key.
the chime is necessary to get into Mirage Tower, which has the Tiamat fight.
Which
And
has 4 shards.
Mirage Tower has the highest amount of chests in the whole game. I think it has over half of the chests of the game. So if he can find that chime, he can just go there and more than likely find all the shards he needs.
Alright, looks like that is the Gold Dragon cosplaying down there as Kraken today. This is our first crack at somebody taking on the Kraken, so let's see if Golden Shocker can not be punched to death here.
Yeah, see if... Okay. Lit 2, that's a very easy first turn thing to take from a Kraken fight. Just going with the speed and power method. I like it. And it worked.
Very nice. It looks like Turdsman just sent the cube, the Golden Shocker, but I think Possum already did the Opera Dragon, so we would have had that cube for a while.
Yeah, I saw the cube on Woobear's side, which the cube is needed to get into the actual sky part of Mirage Tower, where the chime is just to get into Mirage itself. Okay, yeah. They didn't shuffle chime access, so both are needed to get to the Tiamat fight.
Alright, looks like Turdsman's breaking logic. Well, I say breaking logic. He doesn't have access to Cyan, but he's doing Cyan's Mount Zozo check. The risk in this is that Cyan may be character 13, 14, buried later and deeper in the seed, so it may be a while before you have to do this. So this technically may not be in logic. The reward factor is that there's something cool here, and or something needed here, and you happen to find it that the other team doesn't. You can kind of craft out a nice little nifty advantage for yourself.
Alright. Are the dragons like a good source of experience too, if you just need to get some levels on your party?
They're a fantastic source of experience. They give 10 ability points, and we have ability multiplier of 5. So they will give at least 50 ability points, and then that's going to learn every spell as long as it doesn't have a ×1 multiplier. Plus the experience, plus most of the dragons have their vanilla drop is kind of useful in itself. Plus the access to a key item, either an AP item, whatever it may be, the check reward. It happens to be a Thunder Shield this time. That's cool for for Turdsman. But it could have been something even cooler, like the rod or one of the key items we haven't found for the FFR side. Plus dragons, once you reach a certain level, dragons just are not a risk or a danger to you, so they're just free experience. It's just some of them are kind of out of the way.
Okay. And I saw that Golden Shocker picked up a defense sword, so they do have access to at least one ruse item, which I'm pretty sure Woobear picked that up when he was there earlier.
Looks like Golden Shocker just found the key.
Yeah, that's where Woobear went earlier and grabbed the key and was doing a lot of key lock checks.
Yeah. And
that's also why he didn't go to Mermaids, because Mermaids is locked in this flag set.
So Weebear's honing in on the chime and just hinted for it. I'm not sure if the hit went through or not, if he has enough credits for it. But Possum is now doing one of Realm's checks, so maybe this is, Possum's going on the path to where the chime is for a Weebear.
It would be a smart play. So I think, yeah, Woo also hinted for the rod earlier. So he was probably wanting to get access to the other fiends to get those shards quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Golden Shocker has a 3 purple worm fight.
Ooh,
very high experience. It's a very high experience late game enemy.
Nice. Alright, looks like Turdsman is doing his Kepka's Tower dive with his party members to maybe try to find some items.
Hey look, another Valiant Knife. Do those carry over into the late game, or are they more of a early game weapon?
They are arguably the best possible item you can have for an early game. Because as long as you can keep the character alive at low HP, it's the best source of defensive ignoring damage you can come across. Plus, later game you could argue you prefer an Atma weapon because you don't have to worry about babysitting the character's low HP. However, it's really easy. There's 4 HP stat 6 that can be an Esper plus 10, plus 30, plus 50, plus 100. So you're gonna probably come across one some way somehow. So it's really easy, really possible. You gotta put a high HP character that you just kind of babysit, and then just have him doing huge, insane amounts of damage, especially when it's paired with the offering. To be able to run around with that the entire suit, it's all just about holding the A button and making sure your A button doesn't break. As long as your A button doesn't break, you're pretty safe to defeat just about anything in the game.
Oh man, hold aim, pray. Such a fun tactic.
Alright, looks like this is Narapa hanging around with the toilet at my spot for Turdsman. It's like Possum's doing some more Kefka Tower things. He's gonna go ahead through. Looks like, I think what he's doing this time, he's gonna go through and go and take out one more of his bosses. So they must know where what they need is. So he's got the clear to go ahead and to beat the game.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how early game FFR usually has a lot of areas it can go and check, but those shards always hold it up near the end, it seems.
Alright, this is the Gold Dragon spot for Turdsman, but again, it's not going to be the Gold Dragon, it could be the Storm Dragon. Who chose violence today with Quasar, my goodness.
Look, some days you wake up and you just have to choose violence.
Alright, the left statue down is down for Possum. He has one more statue fight to go, along with the final fight. And then looks like Weebear just needs his shards. He's going to get 4 shards from this, plus whatever he gets eventually when he ends to...
Yeah, the Earth Dive will give him the 2.
Yeah, he can get the 2 from here. He can go back and get his 2 from the carry spot, and then he has 4 more waiting for him in the tower.
Yeah, he's not really going out of his way to check any of the boxes here in Earth. They're kind of mostly out of the main path.
Yeah, I guess the argument what he would, do is that, hey, maybe I can grab the chests that aren't, super far out of the way. Maybe that happens to be a shard, and I can duck having to go back for carry or something.
Well, he did go back and do the carry fight already.
Oh, well, never mind.
Like I said, that's just a super fast, because he already checked everything in there, kept all the AP items, and if there was anything worth re-grabbing, hopefully he wrote it down, or he just ignored it.
Alright, this is hiding for Turdsman from Baba, the last statue fight for Possum. I'm not really sure what Golden Shocker could still need. Turdsman's had his requirements for quite a while. I'd imagine Golden Shocker's probably needing the rod or the chime to get access to the last two dungeons.
I'm not sure if Golden Shocker has their loot yet or not.
You just got the rod from Turdsman, it looks like.
I'm gonna have to try and look at their inventory. I did not see a loot in there, which is a must-have. And I don't remember where the other team found it. Oh, never mind. Woobear just found his loot. I thought he had that already.
Alright, so the loot is in the cave, or the second half of the cave.
Yeah, it's
Now you
Earth
just need the shards.
3? Lich's Closet is what we more or less call that floor. Or Earth Armory. Not quite as good as the Volcano Armory, but it's the best that Earth Cave can do for us.
Alright, Tersman did just send a shard to Golden Shocker. Alright, Possum is on his switches. And all he has left is the final fight.
Now, I don't remember, is release on Game Over on for this tournament or no?
No, so there is no release if nothing gets sent over unless you find it. So I think this is just a case of, there's no point in Possum waiting on Weebear to go beat the game. Might as well go beat it now. Weebear has everything he needs, and there's nothing you can really do to speed it up for him. He has everything he needs. There's nothing you can send him that would make it worth your time, so he's just firing away and taking care of everything he needs to do.
Makes sense. Woobear does have a defense sword and a saber gauntlet, so that black belt could more or less buff itself as much as it needs to punch down any fiend that comes in their way. At level 32, that black belt is going to be hitting like a truck. Pretty sure the red mage has fast, so Woobear level-wise is plenty good to go to Topher. He just needs those last 4 shards now.
I think he's going down to the marsh cave. Maybe there's something down there that he needed.
So there's 3 chests in here that are key locked, so he's coming back to check those.
Gotcha.
There is a chance that when they hinted for the chime, it told them they had to come back here.
Found a house.
Yeah, I mean, houses are nice, but they have plenty of money to buy them at this point. Heal Pod just feels like a bad find.
Alright, Golden Shocker is about to come up to his Vargas fight, I believe.
He's almost at the vampire fight, which is basically the halfway point of this dungeon. Oh. So Chime was indeed in Marsh cave locked. And Wu is only 4 shards away, so he's just saying, forget every chest in here, I'm just gonna go kill the Tiamat.
And then he'll be in his go mode.
Golden Chakra will be in a very similar position soon enough. And it looks like Turdsman just found their offering.
Yep. Any chance you think Weaver will give us a war mech fight?
Let's see. Warmech is set to vanilla. If he sees Warmech on his path, he might. I don't think he'll go looking for Warmech though. Yeah. Sadly, his levels are already good. The Warmech fight would have just cemented it in. But it can also turn out very, very bad, and Warmech can just wipe your party and you have to reclimb the whole Sky Tower. Number 128? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's either number 128 or Inferno. I couldn't see the text screen for it, but it doesn't matter what it is. Weaver took care of it pretty fast.
Yeah, throwing a fast on that black belt right now is enough to take care of probably any of the first fight fiends. He's just moving around some gear, making sure he has his casting weapons on who he wants, and he is diving in.
Right, so he needs to refight all of the 4 fiends. I wonder, this is my first time seeing this with alternate sprites. Do all the sprites stay the same? Oh, I guess that answers my question.
Yeah, so it'll be the same fiends from the first fights, but they have a very different spell and skill set and higher stats. Now, I say they have higher stats, but that black belt's probably just going to turn them into mincemeat in 1 or 2 rounds each. Though that nuclear was not nice.
No, not at all. Luckily, the black belt wasn't hurt. He is safe and sound, so nothing to worry about.
And that red mage has life too, so that thief is back up at full health already. And Possum moving on to the final phase of the FF6 fight.
Yep, this will be tier 4. There are 3 tiers to the final Kefka. Or 4 tiers to the final Kefka fight. First part is 3 tiers, or 3 parts. Tier 2 is 4 parts, then 2, and then last but not least, we beat the big floating town in the sky. Not really sure how he floats up here all day and doesn't get tired. Maybe he could have put a chair up here. But nevertheless, this guy has 62,000 HP total, and I think that's just enough to lock to still one-shot it, though.
Doing that much in one hit is just crazy.
Yeah, I think he has the Valiant Knife Kenju Glove offering set up, so maybe not. He's cracking a little bit of shields here to do some extra damage, so maybe he doesn't. Yeah, I see a Valiant Knife in his inventory, so maybe he's just running out the numbers. But generally speaking, on Kefka's first turn, he will always do Fallen 1, unless you do X amount of damage to him, and that X is about 30,000 30,000, but he's saying, you know what, let's let him fall on one, because that's just going to make my block a little bit more stronger, which is no problem whatsoever when he does 8 Valiant Knife swings, and this will do it.
That was
Awesome. It's done.
crazy.
Yeah, it is actually kind of crazy how little you can beat Tier 4 Final Kefka with, because his script is, if you understand his script and understand the spots you're in danger, they're really easy to kind of dance around. The problem is you can't really get up there with that comically little amount, unless your character just happen to die along the way. But if you can get up there with just, you can get up there with half a character, sometimes that's more than enough to take them down.
Well, as Kefka is dissolving into nothingness, Wu Bear is pulling up on Chaos. The Red Mage did go down against the Tiamat refight.
Oof. Yeah, I think Weebear's fine here because he is, not having any difficulty with the Fiend fight, so Chaos probably won't give him too much trouble, but this would be backbreaking because it sends him back quite a bit of time if he can't get through this.
Yeah, the Thief luckily had a fast weapon, and the Black Belt has a saber. Oh, he's already doing 1800 damage attack.
Nothing to worry about here.
And the Chaos is dead. Put out that second G for Team 2.
And GG's to Possum, GG to Weebear. Alright, looks like Golden Stalker found their chime down in the Marsh Cave with their key. So now he just needs to head on over, get one more shard, and he is good to go.
Yeah. I wonder if they never got the floater.
Maybe they
Never got the
did.
floater. Hardly know her, anyways.
Oh, hi, Blue Bear.
Hello.
Hey, Possum. GG's, y'all.
Hello. GG's.
I think my name's Wee Bear now. Just
It's
throwing
what
it out
bear?
there. Wee Bear?
Wee Bear?
Just a little guy.
You go wee all the way home?
Apparently. I just noticed when I was watching at the end there, it called me Wee Bear. It's cute. I like it. Anyways, GG's.
GG's indeed, my friend.
So what you guys think of it?
A lot of power. It's fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of individual agency for a co-op game, which is tough to get used to, but it does reward you for your own skill at your own game, much more than a lot of other crossovers where it's like you're solely dependent on one person doing like the majority of the work. You have to know what you're doing in your zone, in your lane. So it's very different, but very, very interesting in that regard.
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
you guys liked seeing Quad X. Use that, I think, at least a couple times, anyways.
Those Quad X sticks were doing a lot of work for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's currently set to 900, so it's a lot.
I didn't realize it was that high. I thought 600 was as high as we ever went.
Yeah. No, it can go up to 1200 even, but yeah, usually you don't see that. I don't think it's going to be staying at 900, but for this one.
Oh, it can be set to unlimited.
Oh, actually, yeah, there you go. It's just anything. You don't resist death, you die.
Alright, so a party of 4 white mages is viable.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Golden Stalker is climbing Mirage. They only need... Wait, do they even need any shards at this point?
I don't think they do. I think he's got his go beat the game. Maybe he's doing it for levels.
No, I think I saw that he needed 2, maybe. But
Okay.
Tracker says 28, so I could be wrong on that.
It can be hard to keep track of them, too.
Yep. Especially if you reset out. If they're not on the AP side, then you're going to lose them.
Yeah. The wipe to carry pretty well. The carry spot pretty early on seemed a little unfortunate.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about it because the XP is a little higher. So you get to keep all the AP things. I don't know what else I lost down there, but it wasn't anything I was terribly worried about. That's also why I threw the attempt at her. I'm like, I get quad X stick, maybe I can pop her. But either they were immune to death, or it had a lot more HP than I was anticipating. And of course, she like punched my nuker turn 1.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get the HP down into a quad X range. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to really get through that, so I wasn't too upset about it.
The other thing is, with it being AP, even if you die, anything you send to your teammate, it's already gone.
Yep. Well, even stuff that I get for myself, as long as it's AP, you still keep it. So yeah, lost a bit of XP, but wasn't too worried about that. Even without a grind, I was like level 35 at the end, 36. So
Now, if you saw War Mech, would you have taken the War Mech fight?
oh, always. Why not?
Okay.
Just superiority, right?
I figured you would if you saw him, but I didn't think you'd go looking.
No, certainly not looking. Yeah, so missing 1 shard over there, which I feel. Took the Black Mage though, which is cool. Did Golden Shocker get carry down early?
Yes, Golden Shocker actually got carried down around the time that you died to carry.
Okay. That's a fair
And
pickup then.
Picked up the Black Mage right after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, level 1 nuke as well. It's real good.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with it, but like I said earlier, you staying with the 3-man allowed you to get that black belt a few more levels from just the fights you were taking along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember saying that when me and Possum were playing that whenever I did the first... I can't even remember what the first feat I did, but it's like, why would I pick up this character at this point? It's like 40 minutes-ish into the game. I'm level, like, mid-20s. Like, do I need to? No. My red mage has life 2, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you had Nuke, Life 2.
No Cure 4, but Cure 3, which is good enough.
And fast.
And fast, yeah. Which I ended up getting that fast axe and all of the tempers, which I forgot weapons had spells, so I didn't check an area immediately. But I quickly realized, like, oh yeah, these have cool things on them, I should look. A little sad to see no Amaro on the other side, It's cool though, I guess.
Well, Kurtzman's using him,
Kurtzman has it.
Yeah, he's just he's doing this.
Oh, he's in the tower.
But,
Yeah. That's fair, that's fair. Unlike some people in this chat.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Didn't even bring him into the tower. Let him run the airship.
Nope. Best pilot out there.
I did notice that you put everyone else down except for that one character.
Mm-hmm. He and his snow muffler need to keep the airship warm and running for everyone else. There's a certain level of importance, and the Yeti has to hold down the Yeti's job. Everyone else can go do other things. For a lot of them, it's literally taking punches and falling to the ground. At least I'm not doing that level of disservice to the Yeti. Calling Yeti a pilot is an improvement than, a carpet on the floor.
Wow.
Alright, Yeti, pilot this airship, just float here, don't touch anything. We'll be back.
No, touch everything but the controls.
Yeah.
It can float. You can wreck the place. It's cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I think I have a couple ideas for things we could tweak on the FFR side, at least.
Did it feel like the EXP scaling was too high?
EXP scaling was a bit too high. It's at 3.3 times plus 100, and then I think 50% every 8 shards,
Yeah.
as well as XP chests being like 4,000 to 7,000. So, what is at the point where like I get a bunch of XP chests in something, and I just reset out because it's faster to just, do other things instead of leaving. And yeah, the XP is a little high.
Though, even though the XP was high, you did finish about the same time only because you were looking for shards.
Yeah. I felt kind of bad. I can't remember what time. I ended up getting a lot near the end quickly, but I think we had like 50 minutes, and Boss was like, "How many shards you get?" I'm like, 17. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, there's also the knowledge, though, that the end of a Worlds Collide seed takes dramatically longer than the end of an FFR seed. So we actually timed it out incredibly well on this, despite what may have seemed like a huge disparity of me going up into the tower while Wu was at 20 shards, still needing 8, and I think you had just gotten Chime then, or you did Rod and you did Chime. I don't know. It was like you had a ton of stuff left to do. But that's how long it takes to get through the end of FF6 with the statues and then the Kefka fight itself. It's a very different experience than on the FFR side.
Yeah, you have to go through all those cinematic cutscenes of the final fight. It's very time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in the end, but it's kind of weird that the FF6 side doesn't done until the entire cutscene is over of Kefka crumbling. Which,
Really?
yeah. I don't know if you noticed, the FF6 side is finished. It happened basically when the cutscene happens when the characters pop up after Kefka dies. Just wild. As long as it's the same on both sides, it doesn't matter in the end. It's just kind of weird that it's not at the crumble, right?
Yeah, we finished seconds apart despite finishing 75 seconds apart.
And it does look like Golden Shocker is... I want to say that's the Kraken refight? Or is that Tia?
I think it's Tia... question mark. I'm helpful. There's a few questions possible to ask. I'm like, so how does this work? I'm like, I don't know. What do we do? Question mark done? It's like, I don't know. Probably. Try it, find out, see how it goes. I use race time a lot, right? So
Yeah.
forget.
It's a bit different in the race time rooms.
Man, I'm jealous. Tursman is hitting X zones while I couldn't land multiple Raidens. I want that RNG.
I mean, you
Maru
did,
with an Atma weapon? Let's go.
you did
Lightsaber Yeti?
what, 40,000 damage in one attack at the end there?
56k.
56?
Yeah.
So
I
is
knew
that
it
just
wasn't
that
going to
plus
be
one
enough to
shield?
one-shot. Yeah, well, I threw a shield and a Thunder Rod just in case. I was like, well, we'll make sure. I don't really feel like getting everyone ultimate at 1 HP. That's generally a bad idea.
It's not great.
But those are the numbers we wish our black belts could do in FFR.
56k? Yeah. Be
Yeah.
nice. Although I have seen, I think the highest I've seen is 20k. You can get some pretty crazy numbers if you temper a lot. There's no reason to, because most bosses have 4k at max, but it's fun.
Sometimes you have to show chaos, the other side of multiple universes.
Yeah, assert your dominance. I get it. They should put the dot done on the Final Fantasy VI side at the end of this cutscene.
The whole cinematic for 30
Whole
minutes?
cinematic, yeah.
How dare you?
Take a break, go make dinner, do some laundry.
Man, why are these FF6 races so long?
That's heinous, Woobear.
I do what I can. Okay, but I'm gonna dip out. I'll let you guys finish up the race over there, talking.
Alrighty. GG's again, and
Yeah.
look forward to more showings from y'all.
Soon.tm.
GG's.
Love you all. Goodbye.
Alright, so it looks like Golden Shocker chugging along through his Chaos fight, and Turdsman's still on Tier 2. Well, he's on the back half of his Tier 2 fight, because we're starting to see some death counters come out from one of the pieces.
Yeah, I don't think that Chaos has too long to live.
How much HP does Chaos have? I think it's 6,000 or so?
You know, this is one of those things I should know, but put out a single G for Golden Shocker taking down that Chaos.
Very nice.
I normally just keep throwing damage at Chaos until it's dead.
Yeah, eventually if the screen starts to shake, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
Alright, out comes 10 hits for Turdsman. That is the death counter of, I believe, the last tier. Oh no, that lock is in... You don't want to see 8 next to your character's HP total when 10 hits is fire enough, but you know what? It doesn't matter. He lives through it. Pretty fortunate there, and he is on to Tier 3.
Let's see. Chaos's base HP is 4,000. And... scaling. HP scaling is between 100% and 250%.
Very nice.
So between base HP is 2k? Google lied to me. How dare it? Okay,
Alright,
fine.
this- So, Turdsman is casting Golem here, and what Golem does is it will block any physical attack, or put a wall for physical attacks based on the caster's current HP total. Why that is important is because what's coming on your screen right now is Calmness. Calmness is an instant death physical attack that that guy, who is no longer alive, does for his last turn when you take him down. And everything about the final fight in Final Fantasy VI is designed to just kind of pick characters off and force you to use all the characters that you've assembled throughout the vanilla game. But again, in Worlds Collide, we just probably want 4 of those. So we just cast Golem, so we can't pick off one of our 4 main characters, and on we go to the final fight. And similar to Possum's final fight, I don't expect this to be a very long one.
I mean, Locke is already down to 8 HP. So could you just go ahead and tell him to attack and get it over with?
Yumaro will have something to say about that, because Yumaro will act before Locke can. And Yumaro does what he does best, and that is a bunch of damage, but ooh, this is going to be interesting.
Those numbers look a little low.
We may trigger an Ultima here. No, we may not. Take it all back. That should be Crack Pow and GG for Turdsman. BG's indeed.
Oh man, that was a little scary when that was 8 hits didn't finish it off.
I think he actually would have been fine because Ultima will only do between like 21 and 2300-ish K worth of damage, and if his characters have 3000 HP, then obviously they'll that's a larger number than the 2300 at the end of the higher end of that. So he would have been fine. His terror would have acted no matter what, and he has completed the game despite not needing the Ultima. Ultima would have made a better theater, obviously, but he would have been fine either way.
So not until all those dust particles are gone is when you guys normally done?
No, that's when the AP considers the FX16 finished. So I think we'll see it
Oh.
pop up in the chat. But actually, once you see the crack bow for the trigger that animation, that long animation, that's when the game is officially considered complete.
Okay. Let's look at. Not seeing them up in the waiting room. They may not.
They've been in. We just wanted more to go. There we go. Turtle's got it.
GG's, y'all.
Hey, GG, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So how was that for y'all?
That was neat. It took me a little while to get my archipelago shoes on at the beginning. Kind of wandered around like an idiot for those first 5 minutes or so, but yeah, I think once I got a handle on what I was supposed to be doing, ran a lot smoother.
Yeah, I would say pretty much same for me. Except my learning curve was about 10 minutes, like the whole time I spent in Volcano.
Yeah, we were talking about it after the fact. Like we both just kind of strolled on in, like off the street, just like, oh, what are you guys getting up to in here today? Like I just didn't have it in my head that I was doing an archipelago run today.
I mean, you did extremely well, if that's the case.
Well, thank you. I owe that all to Amaro. Bless up. My boy could use all sorts of good equipment. I knew Glue was watching, so I wanted to.
You made the correct choice whether I was here or not.
Yeah. I'd never given him the Paladin shield before. That was a lot of fun.
I mean, it's the right decision, obviously.
Yeah. You gotta protect your carry at all cost.
Exactly. He's endangered. So
Was
yeah,
he
I think
in danger, or is everyone else in danger?
the world is endangered because. No, I think mainly like using hints more frequently and early. Like I don't know if those came up on the big list on the stream.
It shows us when you guys do a hint. It doesn't tell us the info though.
Okay. Yeah, it took. Like I think on the Final Fantasy VI side at least, like since I don't have any specific espers or characters that I have to pick up, I just need a number of each. Like I think it kind of ends up being like on the Final Fantasy VI side, you just go and vacuum up as many checks as you can get as fast as you can, and then to try to help the Final Fantasy I side to get the key items that they need.
Yeah, it was brought up earlier that the FS6 side might be more of a, oh hey, FFR's item is in your world behind such and such. What do you need to get to that spot? Type of deal.
Yeah, we had that at the end there, but I already had Realm, so I could just run right to it.
Yeah, that's pretty much when we started using hints. Well, that's when I learned about hints, actually, is probably the better way to phrase it. But yeah, it was 45 minutes in when we were like, oh, maybe we should just pop a hint and see like what it is. When Turdsman said that, like first thing was like, oh, I can do that? Like so yeah, it was a bit of shenanigans going on, but it was all in fun and games.
Yeah, now that you know about those hints, I'm sure those times will drop by 20-30 minutes.
Oh, easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just sub-hour from now on.
I mean, standard Moogle cup seed. Turn into that.
So how did the EXP scaling and all that feel to you guys?
I think it was kind of interesting because I was fully prepared to jump into Burning House with without too much. I just kind of wanted to get some levels under my belt before I started doing anything fancy. I really like how characters show up at level 3. That made that Terra unstoppable because I could get her magic power buffs from the very start. but it felt like it was slow going at first, and then I got a big pack of scaling progression, at around like the half-hour mark, and that's when it really started amping up, and I could get, start jumping up 3 or 4 levels per fight instead of 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think on my end it was more because I had nuke from the beginning. Like, once I got enough like HP to be able to survive a fight, like, it was no big deal. But then, like, I shouldn't have tin cupped, for lack of a better term, going into Volcano until I cleared it. Like, I would have been much better off just doing literally anything else. Knowing that I had Canoe would have been a nice little tidbit of information to have at that point in time. I thought that was the only thing I could do was Volcano.
I mean, you did defeat Volcano on your first dive, where Woo Bear did die to the carry fiend. You're both in there, I think, about the same time, too.
Yeah, that, the Pede fight where I got slept by that, and then a couple other shenanigans with the monster in a box fights. I felt it right away that I was starting to drag a little bit at that point.
Yeah, I saw the iguana use nuke on you, and I kind of cringed a little bit.
Yeah, I cringed too, for what it's worth.
I think all in all, I didn't run into too much trouble. At least not from the bosses. I mean, I had Berserk when I ran into Magi Master. That would have been a much bigger problem if I didn't have that, but... but I also kind of took it slow in the beginning, so...
Yeah, I would have been in a lot of trouble if I didn't have that Mage Rod with Quad X on it. That was, like, the thing that gave me a little bit of hope and kind of got me going. Without that, I was going to struggle, probably.
They buffed the power words up to 900 HP and under. Not sure if you noticed that one either.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
normally it's 300.
Yeah, I was thinking it was 300, but then I was like, well, I'm one-shotting dragons, I'm just going to keep using it until it fails.
You have any other questions for our runners?
No, GG's again, gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming on the restream today and showcasing it pretty much off the street, 'cause I know this is y'all's first time together. And yeah, thank you guys again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, GG's to Possum and Woo Bear. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, they're quite the team from last year with the Mystic Quest and FFR, so it was a tall task racing against them, but it was a good practice and it was a fun time. So definitely.
You guys got them next time. Just knock them out of the tournament before I have to face them, please.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to taking what I learned from doing this into the next one.
Yeah.
Gonna do it a lot different.
Yeah, they're probably going to tweak some of the numbers, but I'm fairly certain the majority of the flags are going to stay the same going forward. I think that's usually what they use these showcases for, just get a little bit more on-hands experience with different runners and see how it feels to the runners and how it looks from outside looking in.
Yeah, we figured this was... figured it was essentially a test.
Yeah.
As much as a showcase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Weir Bear just said that exact thing in the chat. Good to be right.
Yeah, it feels good when we say things
that
are
I love
correct. But yeah, thank you again for coming on, putting out a good race for everyone to watch, and hopefully you just enjoyed it and didn't really think too much about the other team's time.
Oh, no, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for having us.
I mean, I'm all for being a negative example and showing everybody.
You gotta know how not to do it.
Right. Yeah, if people didn't see that, they'd think that all the stuff that I did was the right move. I mean, obviously, that's what I'm here for.
All right. Thank you for everyone who came out to watch all these wonderful racers. Big shout out to Mecklin doing the restream and I believe the tracking?
Yes, indeed.
Question mark? Okay. Thank you to FFR for allowing us to do all these amazing crossovers and showcase as many great games as we can, and we hope you all come out next time we get the next showcase out. Take care, everybody.
Everybody have a good night.